to Her Season, the podcast for women who know they're meant for more and are ready to become the happiest, healthiest, hottest, and most successful version of themselves. I'm your host, Georgia Stockton, and this podcast is your place to learn the tools, habits, and mindset shifts that help you step into the best version of yourself. The woman who is confident, who takes care of her mind and body, who goes after big dreams and actually makes them happen. Each week, you're going to hear powerful conversations with successful entrepreneurs, health and wellness experts, and inspiring women sharing real strategies that help you level up your life. Because becoming her doesn't happen by accident. It happens through small, intentional choices every single day. So if you're ready to level up your life and become the woman you know you're capable of being, you're in the right place. This is Her Season. Hello, Season Gals. Welcome back to another episode of the Her Season podcast. I'm here today with Britt Jones, the founder of Covered. We're here in Nashville, Tennessee. Britt, I'm so glad to be here with you.
Yes, so glad to be here with you. Thanks for having me.
Okay, I want to start off hot start. Tell us about Covered, what you make, a little bit about the brand. I'll let you run with it.
Yeah, so I started Covered last May, so it'll be 2 years. I guess it'll be 2 years this May, actually. And it's a faith-based brand, meaning that you are covered by God. And so I trademarked my trucker hat. The trucker hat was the first thing that I started with. That was the first thing that I could afford. I actually wanted to start with clothing, which now I have on.
I know. Please, if y'all are watching on video, her sweatshirt is so cute. I'm like,
it's covered by God on it. But I wanted to start with clothing, and then how I wanted to do it, and I'll get into that. It was just so expensive at the time to do that. And so a girlfriend of mine was like, why don't you start with a trucker hat? And I was like, you know what? I could do that. And I trademarked the testimony trucker. And so when someone says, what does covered mean on your hat? You should be able to share your testimony with somebody. And so it's called the testimony trucker. But yes, and so I have the trucker hat. I have a candle. It says covered in his light. And then I have like stationery cards. I just launched some socks this fall with my clothing collection. It's called Genesis 001. And I have 2 sweatshirts, a t-shirt, and I did a whole camo drop. So that sold out really quick. And yeah, I just restocked those.
It's so cute. Guys, if y'all are listening right now, you need to go look at her Instagram, look at her website. It is the cutest and honestly, the most high quality, any of your stuff. I'm just amazed. You know, the world has so many clothing brands nowadays, but like, I think the ones that stand out are the ones that like take pride in their quality. And I think that's so you.
Thank you for saying that. That's one thing is like, I personally love to buy high quality clothing items. And so when I want to do the clothing at the very beginning, I was like, okay, I'm going to manufacture this. And it just, you know, I have a designer and she designs every single thing, the tech packs. I know every measurement. I send her inspiration. She comes back and tells me what the color of the year is. Like this fall is white. Did you know that? It's Pantone white. So yeah, so that's the color of this fall 2026. But she just reviews and gives me a packet, and then I kind of pick from the packet what I think will be best. But it's not cheap to do it that way. And so as a small business, I want to do it the right way. And I thought that high quality would make people come back.
Okay, so as y'all know, on the Her Season podcast, we're going to cover Britt's current season of life. And honestly, before Britt gets into it and unpacks it, I admire you more than you know, because I think about like what I'm doing in building season and the thought of like, oh my gosh, having a husband and kids and you work another full-time job. And I'm just like, it is incredible all that you do. And
Thank you.
I want to hear about your current season of life. Tell me all about it, day to day, all the things.
Yeah. So I can kind of give you a glimpse of the day to day. I'm in a really busy season of life, and this is such a grind. But just a little backstory: I've been in aesthetics for almost 8 years, and so I'm in sales. And God told me to start this brand. I mean, I would be sitting in church, and I didn't know what I was supposed to do launching this brand. I'd be in church and I'd be thinking about this, or I'd be in the middle of workout and I'd be thinking about it. I'm like, okay, God, I don't know what this is going to be called, like what I'm going to do and how I'm going to do this. I was a top performer at my former company before my company now. And so I just was so busy. And then the kids, I have a 3 and a 5-year-old. So, the thick of it. But a normal day, my husband gets up and he reads his Bible and like have coffee. And then, we take the kids to school and And then I go on about my day and I see all my clients and who I need to see. And then I get back and I try to be as present as possible. That's one thing I'm trying to do is be really present with my kids right now while being busy. And then at night or during the day, I'll work on covered with my employees if they have a question or checking an email or something like that, packing orders at night when the kids are asleep. So yeah, it's very busy and making sure that I'm a good mom to them too. So
Yeah. If you had to describe your season right now, and it's okay if you can't do it in one word, but is there a word that describes your current season of life?
yeah, I think the word would probably be rooted. Like I'm just trying to stay really rooted where I am and not miss out. I feel like I missed out on so much of my kids when they were little, and that's just now I can't get that time back. And so I'm trying to be very present with them and like very steadfast, and God will provide regardless if I'm obedient. So I think
Yeah,
rooted.
absolutely. I love that. Okay, so now that we have your current season of life,
Yeah.
I want to talk through the seasons of life you had to go through to get to where you are today. And so I think that kind of starts at like Covered as a brand with such a mission
Mhm.
that is used to glorify God. And so I want to hear a little bit of like your testimony when you first came to know the Lord and just how relationship with him grew.
Yeah, I love that question. So I was baptized and I found the Lord actually at a church camp one summer. And then my brother and I got baptized together one March. We did that together at our church.
Are y'all
Um,
twins?
no,
You're so
we're
cool.
6 years apart, but we got baptized together. It was just on a day, like a family date that we decided. So we did that at our former church, but I feel like my relationship with God has definitely evolved. I guess if you say it's always been in different seasons, but I feel like I've known him so much more than I thought I did, and just ways that he shows up for me and my kids. And I have so many like small testimonies to share or people that I meet and I'm like, oh my gosh, God, you made her sit next to me at dance so I could talk about you. My daughter's here because I'm supposed to meet this person. And so there's just different things that he's done in my life now that as I'm a mom and that I'm just more aware of it. Like, oh my goodness. But I know that he has been so faithful and there's so many times that it's easy to get discouraged and I'm like, okay, I'm not going to keep going. And my husband's really great at making sure that he is the leader and the rock behind me. And so that's easy. But yeah, I feel like also too, like being married to someone who shares your same values and who is a leader at home and we read the Bible at night together, that's ultimately what it is.
And I know that is probably such a huge part of how you are in your current season today is
Mhm.
your husband and your relationship. So I want to hear, I love one of my favorite things is hearing how people meet.
Yes.
So if you want to give us like how y'all met, how long you dated for, marriage, like give us cliff notes. And
Yeah.
like also I want to know like when did you know he was the one? How did you know he was the one? As a single girl, I'm asking selfishly for the other single girls out here. I would love to know
Okay,
your
so
thoughts on this.
yeah, so in a past life or well, a few years ago, I bartended and I'm in Nashville, so on Broadway. And my husband came into the bar and he asked me for my number and I said I had a boyfriend and then he messaged me on Instagram a little bit later and I was like, "Oh, I met you before." And anyways, he played baseball. So we had like a long distance relationship and then when he was home for off season, like we got to hang out and anyways, he was at church, and we had broke up for like a hot second and he came to church and he was sitting like at the end of a pew and I'll never forget. I heard God so clearly say like, "That's your husband." And I was like, oh my gosh, it freaked me out because we weren't at that time together. And then now I'm like, oh my gosh, we're married with kids. And so, yeah, we dated for a couple of years. But like he said, he played baseball in Canada and we were like on WhatsApp talking and everything.
So funny.
And anyways, then we got married and had Riker and then my little girl. So yeah, anyways, but basically we resonated because he was emotionally there for me. It wasn't like the attraction was the only thing. It was
Yeah.
like, and we listened to Christian music. And so I was like, oh my goodness, and read the Bible. And we just had the same like morals. And so that really aligned with who he was as a person for me.
So cool.
Yeah.
Okay, and then from there, I want to hear when was the first moment that you had the idea for Covered. Talk
Mhm.
to me about the season of life when, oh my gosh, God has put this idea on your heart. Because I'm a firm believer, God puts those ideas on our hearts for a reason. And I want to hear like the first moment that he put that on your heart. How long did it take you to take action on it? Because I don't know if you're like me. Sometimes God will give me an idea and then I come up with every excuse in the book and hesitate. So from the idea to like the first time you took action towards like making it happen, talk to me about the season of life building Covered.
Yeah. So, that's a great question. My little boy was in occupational therapy when he was 3. And so, I just remember that felt like like such a hard time for me because as like a new mom, you don't know. No one gives you a book and they're like, oh, this could happen or, this. Anyways, he was in OT. I just remember like I would be sitting in church, like I said earlier, and God's like, you have to do something. And I'm like, God, I'm in sales. Like, I know that, but I don't know if I'm trying to sell myself on something or if like this is from you. And so it's so interesting. I always feel like God gives you signs or like people or, whatever. But I remember I was looking at like a cardiology job and I remember looking up in the sky and I was like, there's like a C in a cloud. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's for sure the sign I'm taking this job. And now I know it's like, oh my gosh, that's my logo, which is really cool. He just told me it was like in my head, like I had to do it, over and over. Like I knew I had to do something to glorify him. I just didn't know what it was. I didn't know what the name was going to be. I kept telling friends about it. So I would say it took like at least, 3 months for me to like take action. And then I didn't really know what I was going to do at that point. And then I've just had so many people help me along this journey and different employees who have brought value and all the other people that I get to connect with. And so at the end of the day, it's about having a bigger purpose of, talking about God, glorifying him, and, sharing with other friends, like what it's like to get to heaven one day. So
I know you probably relate to this like as a business owner, but that's one thing that when your to-do list feels never ending, like sometimes like I'll start to get overwhelmed with like all that needs to happen. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, when you're able to work in a way and you realize like the work that I'm doing is far more than just for me. Like, this is for a bigger mission and a bigger purpose. It makes the work so much easier. Do you find that to be true as well?
Yes. And it's so I'm like, God, this business is like, it's not, and as a business owner, like you're not profitable for like 3 to 5 years. And so it's not like I'm trying to be profitable, like doing this and using God, but it's like, okay, God, you told me to do this. I need you to provide the income so I can continue to pay my employees. I can continue to talk about you. I don't know why you told me to do this. Like, is it just because I met one person? But I do love doing pop-ups. I love coming to events because I can share with people and, people are like, oh my gosh, I'm going through breast cancer right now. Like it was meant to be to meet you. And like I am covered. And so when I hear stories and I'm out meeting people, it makes me feel so much more inspired. Like just keep going. You always get in like a business owner, you're like, oh, should I keep doing this? And so I met with my CPA and I'm like, okay, do I keep doing this? And he's like, yes, you just keep going. And so it's the financial risk of having a business too. And you're like, I can keep doing it. But it's always.
I kind of think of it of like the early years of building a business is kind of like when Jesus has people like wandering in the wilderness and they're like, oh my gosh, like what is even happening? Like, is there light at the end of the tunnel? And it's just like, he's got a plan and it just takes a little bit. Just keep working for him day by day. And we're going to wake up one day and be like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was all worth it. And how you just meet people and engage and talk to them and you just never know what people are going through. And so being encouraging, being kind, inspiring, talking to people, sharing about Jesus. And I feel like one thing I've been learning is I felt like everyone is like us. Everyone goes to church. Everyone I live next to. You don't have to go across the world to talk about Jesus. You can go to your next door neighbor or someone at dance or, you just have to be looking for opportunities. And so God will give you the right opportunity at the right time to talk about him. And so it's just sharing the gospel with.
I think you were wearing a hat or a sweatshirt one day.
Yeah, I think the coolest thing is I just got to do the CMA Awards in Nashville. So the CMAs reached out to me. They found Covered. And so I got to gift 90 artists a covered trucker hat. So
cool.
That was really neat. And some of them were like, can we have 2 or 3 hats? I'm like, yes. So that's been fun just to get my brand out there, if you will.
Yes.
But it's honestly so rewarding to hear the stories of people feeling covered, or they're like, I'm headed into radiation. I've got my covered hat on, and like they take a selfie, and I'm just like, oh my goodness, that is why I'm doing this brand. It's not anything more than it's just a simple way to share your faith and know, like truly know that you're covered. And I have, when I'm going through like tough times or I feel down, my friends are like, you're covered by God. And I'm like, oh my gosh, yes. Thanks for reminding me, because it's so easy to seem like you have it all together, but sometimes you need good friends that remind you of that too.
Yes.
So
Absolutely. That, and honestly, I'm so glad you said that. That is something that I've known always, but I have learned more than ever recently. I have to remind myself, hey, I know I'm on the right track, because the devil's working so hard right now to try and make me doubt this, to try and fill me with
yes.
negativity, because I'm doing the right things and he doesn't
Right.
want me to get where God wants me to be.
Yeah, this is just back to like talking to my CPA. I'm like, do I continue to do this? And then I had the next day a girl sent me a text and she was like, hey girl, I was in the McDonald's drive-thru and never go. I just wanted some French fries really bad. This kid had a Jesus Save shirt on, and she's like, I asked him if you guys ever heard of your brand, and he went on the website while we're in the drive-thru. He's an employee, looked it up, said it was so cool. And it's just like little reminders like that. It's almost like when I'm doubting and I'm like, okay, I do not know, like financially, if this is on the track to keep going. He sends people in other ways to show up, and I like talk to you the next week. And so it just reminds me like he's still there, even though you feel the devil like, okay, what?
Planting those seeds
Planting
of
the
doubt.
seeds, and you're like, okay, well, who am I? Or publicly fear, financial risk, all the things that you're like, I could just stop doing this. But I'm like, God, you told me to do this, so I'm going to be
Yes.
obedient. And I don't really know what's going to come out of this, but it's just meeting people and engaging.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Man, okay. Well, I want to hear about your future seasons. I want to hear what you're excited about, what you're working towards.
Yeah.
I love to dream. Let me
I
hear the
mean,
dreams.
I would love to have more partnerships in wholesale and more places.
Yeah.
For example, like Altered State or
Love to dream.
somewhere like that aligns with my
Altered
vision.
State, season planners, and covered.
Yeah.
We both want you.
Yeah, we want to be in there.
Love that.
Going into more stores, or I just hired a new girl, so that's exciting. Building more connections, doing a fall 2026 launch, keep going with clothing, doing more of the podcast, and
Yes.
just keep on growing. One day be able to do this full time, which I will one day.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna brag on Britt for a little bit. One, you're like absolutely stunning, gorgeous,
Oh gosh,
Brittany.
thank
But you have such a sweet demeanor that like literally this is the first time we've met, and you make people feel so comfortable and like so loved. And so if there's any younger girls listening now, maybe high school, maybe college, what would you want to go back and tell like your high school, your college self?
Yeah,
Or maybe any girls too that have a dream of starting a brand. Like, what do you want to speak into them?
Yeah. Well, so my husband owns his own business.
Okay.
And so being married to an entrepreneur and then me working for someone, it's just different,
Yeah.
and he's always so encouraging, like, you can do this and you can be your own boss. And so when I meet younger girls that work for Covered or work for my husband and I, or my nanny, for example, it's just encouraging them. I didn't have anyone my age besides my mom. Just encouraging them, like, yes, you can go to school, but you can do whatever you want to do. You can have a cookie business if you're amazing at baking cookies. Just inspiring them in little ways. And I feel like I'm really good at encouraging people.
Yeah, I just saw it Lifetime right
So
before this.
I'm really good at encouraging people to go out and do it on their own, but sometimes it's hard to encourage myself to go and do it on my own. So I just say, like, keep going, don't miss opportunities, be kind, find friends that you can really trust in. Because I feel like your friend group gets smaller when you get older. And so just be authentic to yourself, because you can change based on your friend group. So,
That scientifically, you were the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with.
yeah, I believe that.
Isn't that wild?
Mhm.
Makes you
Yeah.
evaluate.
I know. You're like, okay, who am I hanging out with? But yeah, I just feel like for the younger girls, you can do anything that you want to do. Just set your mind to it and pray and work really, really hard. And I think it's like a generational thing too. Like, you have to work really hard. I mean, there's so
Yes.
much competition out there. There's so many merch hats. you name it, influencers, all the things. And so you just have to keep staying your course and believing in yourself.
Yes.
And doing what you're doing. So as long as you, like, God put it on your heart to do, He'll provide.
I agree. I agree. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, so let's tell the girls where they can find you.
Yes.
Plug yourself, Instagram, website, all the things.
Yes. So my Instagram is covered by Britt Jones, Britt Jones. And then my website is coveredbybrittjones.com.
There we go.
So,
okay.
yes.
We are going to, when this podcast goes live, we have a section with discounts for our listeners.
Mhm.
Do you want to give a little discount code?
Yeah, I can do that.
Yeah.
Sure. I think that Save 20 is on there and it's 20% off.
Okay.
So,
let's do it.
Oh, yeah,
For something.
I love
Okay.
that.
We'll make that happen.
Yeah, we can
But
do a little
girls,
giveaway on Instagram.
like code season.
Oh, yes. SCN. Yeah.
SCN.
Perfect.
Okay. We'll go code season. So girls, I've heard merch.
Yes. 20% off.
Yes. Thank you so
Yeah.
much for coming on
Thank
today.
you for having me. I'm so excited to be here. And you were great at Pilates this morning.
Thank you. Yeah.
No, oh my goodness. I know. I'm glad to be here. Nice to talk to all of you guys and follow Covered along. So